Ashley had tried everything she could think of to earn a living as a fitness coach. She'd signed up to sell boot camps, done personal training, done all the online programs and everything everybody talks about. They promised she'd have tons of clients and a ton of time freedom, but she ended up working 30, 40 hours a week for less than minimum wage, while running a family of 10 and homeschooling her 8 kids. When she finally hired a coach, she realized what she'd been missing the whole time, and she made more money in the next 2 months than she had made the entire year before as a coach. So I wanted to find out how moms like her could do the same. So in this video, we talk about how to balance building a business with 8 kids, how she got her first 5 high-paying $3,000 clients in less than 30 days, and how to build a business that improves your relationships with your husband as well. But first, I wanted to know this. Tell me about your business. What do you do, Ashley?
So I help moms lose weight. I specifically burnt out moms with, 3 or more children. Seem to be my cohort. I also homeschool my children. And I think that's a huge, like, how are you doing this? How are you losing weight without dieting? Like, people see what I eat, and I'm exercising consistently, trying to keep it pretty simple because I've got a crazy busy life. And I also focus a lot on balancing stress. And so obviously with 8 kids, you have to. So that's who I help the most is, when, 4, 5, 6 kids and trying to figure out how to balance all of the things. Several homeschool moms as well that just want to know how to have energy to both be the mom and the teacher. So
and I love that so much because like I can't remember who I was talking to the other day. I was like, moms are being expected to do more than ever before in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
Like, not only are you running a coaching business, but you're also the teacher. You're also the cornerstone of the household. Like, there's so much that you're doing right now. And obviously, most moms, a lot of moms are doing this. So I love that. I think it's so amazing. So, obviously helping you grow this coaching business is amazing, and seeing where you're going next is really cool. But let's talk about, how you kind of got here. Like, what was, when you were first starting your coaching business, what were some of the biggest problems you were having getting up and running? What were you kind of stuck with?
Before HIC reached out, I should say, I was a Camp Gladiator trainer. And if you haven't heard of what Camp Gladiator is, they're basically outdoor boot camps. There's also virtual options, on-demand options. The pay structure wasn't amazing, and it was very energy demanding.
Yeah.
I had originally gone that route thinking I'm going to go with a company that already has branding done. They're doing their own marketing. I'll go set up booths, set things like health, 5Ks, things like that. And I, about 6 months in, was just drained. And I had originally tried doing that to be a better mom. Like, I was trying to find the thing to fill my bucket. I had already tried, I was a personal trainer, a nutritionist, corrective exercise specialist. I really wanted to help my community. And I thought this would be great. I want to be a part of a community. I want to really make my stamp in the world, change the world, starting with my community. But burnout was imminent. I could feel
that's so debilitating though. It's like hearing, like, I hate hearing people, like, you get into this, whether it's like health coaching or fitness or life coaching or whatever it is, to like have a bigger impact. And then the systems that you kind of get plugged into, or the ways that you think are going to do this, end up turning your passion into a grind, and you end up hating it.
Yeah. It almost ruined my marriage. Like, it almost ended it. And so when I found HIC, and I was again stalking you in the background before I accepted the PC, or before I accepted the call, I was like, all right, let me see who these people are. Cause my big thing was organic, right? Like, I wanted to be organic. I wanted it to be myself. I wanted to be very value-based. I wanted my essence to shine through. And I wanted people to work with me because they felt like I would be able to empathize.
There was a connection, a true connection.
Yeah. And all my aptitude tests, nurse practitioner, PA, physical therapist, like, that's what showed up on my aptitude test. I already knew that this was something that I aligned with really well because I nurture people. Obviously, I have 8 kids.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of practice there, but back up a little bit. I actually became a mom primarily out of duty. Yeah. And it burned me out pretty fast because I wasn't connected with it. Right. And as soon as I learned to connect with it, and I understood how health played a huge role in that. I was like, I have to teach all moms how to do this so they can show up and be a mom and recognize how much more of a boss they can be, and how, like, there are studies that have proven that a woman who has born a child can be stronger than she ever could have been
It's
before.
literally superhuman.
Yeah, literally, we are transformers. Like I tell my sons, I'm like, I could take Optimus Prime up, like I love that. Way cooler. But yeah, sharing that with other moms and getting them out of postpartum depression, anxiety, all the things that hold them back from their essence, like of who they are and the value they can bring in their homes and to the world, and being able to juggle that, because I think a lot of us moms, we just feel like isolated in this,
Yeah.
and it's hard, and society keeps pushing us further and further into our little shells. And so that was a thing that I had to overcome. And as soon as I was able to overcome that and realize how that's what helped me lose weight, not some fad diet, extreme workouts, or any of that. It was aligning myself with this role, but according to me,
and letting go of the shoulda, woulda, couldas,
yes.
and being who you were meant to be, and stop making excuses and really going for it.
Yeah. That's honestly what got me my first 5 clients, was like this. I was not attached to the outcome, except I wanted to serve them. And this gave me a process to be able to communicate my ability to serve them without selling to them. And that's what I aligned with most.
Yeah. And so obviously that alignment, is that why, why the HIC method worked for you so well? Why us? Yeah.
That was huge. The starting high ticket was a huge one. A lot of other coaches that I was researching and wondering if I should work with, to basically coach me on the business side of things. Like I knew how to make a good workout and teach somebody how to let go of dieting.
Most coaches know how to coach. They don't know how to business. So if you want a coaching business, you have to have coaching and business.
It was the life coaching side of HIC, like coaching me out of my limiting beliefs. Because I always had that's why I was working, I did Beachbody years ago. And that's why I joined up with Camp Gladiator, because they had the business model. They took care of the advertising, the business model. So I just wanted to tag along with their blueprint, and because I had this fear that I was going to lose more time with my kids if I tried to do it on my own. So I'm going to follow somebody else's shadow who's already figured out the wheel, right?
Well, it seems easier that way. I think a lot of people, especially coaches, it's not. I think a lot of coaches, they might say, I've never been a salesperson, I've never been a marketer, I've never been an entrepreneur, I've never been a business person. So I'd like to go the easier route, have somebody else figure it out for me, right? Maybe plug into Beachbody, plug into, what was it? Gladiator, something Gladiator?
Camp Gladiator,
Camp Gladiator. You plug into this, but then you find out that you're just a cog in the wheel, and you literally get ground to a pulp. Whereas where you are now, you learn the skills, right? As soon as you learn the tools and the skills, well, nobody can ever take that away from you. You never have to rely on a Beachbody or a Camp Gladiator or an Orange Theory or anything like that ever again. Right?
Yeah. No, you're right. Hit the nail on the head. And I think my marriage was at a point and so strained. And our house wasn't making any progress. We wanted it to fit our family. We wanted to stay here, all of the things. And there was no way forward. We were stuck in the rat race of surviving. And I knew I needed to quit the training schedule that I had. And I had a couple in-person one-on-one clients that were helping I was literally making the same in an hour with my one-on-one clients that I was in a week with classes of 10 plus people that then wanted me to hold them accountable, teach them how to eat and all that. I wasn't making any money. I was lucky if I could bring it.
At that point, you're essentially working for less than minimum wage.
I was. No, my dad did the math. It was less than minimum wage for the amount of hours that I was putting into this, travel and everything. So fast forward, Cahal reaches out, HIC reaches out. I had kind of seen some ads, maybe. I don't even know if I had actually seen any ads until after that call. And then, and he asked, and he was just reaching out, and I was kind of expressing a little bit of I need to figure something out in the next 6 months. I wasn't even prepared emotionally to transition to anything. I just knew I needed to quit. And so I decided to go all in, after our call. I was like, I'm doing this. I know I have value. You guys just teach me how to deliver that value. I can do the rest, right? I had confidence that I knew what I was talking about. So I just go all in. I jumped in. It was like, my husband and I just like had a huge fight about my schedule, not having enough of me. He missed me. I was like, I don't know how to give you more of me. I'm tired,
Yeah.
and we had
You
a
were burnt out. You were burnt out trying to do it the
both
traditional
were.
way that everyone else was telling you to do it. Yeah.
Yes, we both were. And so I kind of told him, like, I didn't talk to him too much about this coaching program, except that I was going to just start coaching.
Yeah.
And I was afraid that I'd fail. I didn't want to talk to him about it because we have a
Yeah.
lot going on. I got my first client within 30 days and I quit my Camp Gladiator job.
Woo!
Like, I was like, that's all I needed. Like, literally, one client surpassed my Camp Gladiator income. One.
Yeah. You get one 3K client and you can get rid of however many hours, 30, 40 hours a week that you're spending on that.
It was, and Camp Gladiator was supposed to be a part-time job. It was supposed to be like 10, 15 hours a week. It was 30 hours a week. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was taking naps when I'm not a napper. Okay. So anyways, fast forward, I had set this vision according to the program, right? I had set this vision, right? And you're like, don't think small, think big, don't do something easy. So I was like, by October 31st, I wanted my 5th client, right? Yeah. October 29th, I signed up the last 2 of the 5. Like, it was just like boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, what? I've never manifested anything in my life before. And it was just the life coaching part of it. Well, except delivering my children. I did manifest that one, but but I felt like outside of motherhood, I had never really manifested any sort of success in that way. And I remember halfway through, I was expressing this to my second daughter, how just my vision, because I was afraid to talk to my husband about it. I was afraid to fail. I was afraid to burn him out with another thing that I've tried. Right. She's like, Mom, like, and this is, I think, what helped the belief. She's like, you are already successful. No matter how many clients you have, like, you are changing the world. I don't know why her 12-year-old little soul just like made me start sobbing, but it did. And
I'm about to start crying just thinking about that, by the way.
I even shared it in one of our calls, our Q&A calls, how that, no, like, she's like, Mom, like, you've done this and this and this, and you've had like 8 kids, like 5 of them at home. Like, you are amazing. You're my favorite mom. And I'm like, you have to say that you're my child. She's like, no, like, we brag about you all the time. You're awesome. And I wish you could see that. And it was just like, I'm just crying. And I'm like, why? Like, why are you doing this to me? But I needed to hear that. And that moment, everything shifted. It was just that little nudge. That was right after that I got those last 2 clients. And then I realized with 5, I was like, okay, like, I got to get a lot more things in order. Joined Accelerator, like, started the big process. Like, okay, I got the life coaching underway. I got the business foundation model. Now I need to know how to scale this and run an actual business.
Now let's go scale this, run an actual business, and go crazy.
Yes.
So actually, let me ask you, what obviously you got those first 5 clients. What are you projecting for 2023? How much are you projecting for 2023?
The goal is 250K, right? So the goal is, so I'm building a platform out right now to be able to onboard 5
just a tiny bit more than like the 30K that you were on track for working at Camp Gladiator.
No, I was on track for 15 to 20K.
Wow.
Like, I wasn't going to make very much in a year, but at the time it wasn't supposed to take that much energy. It was just supposed to be, okay, I'm going to go fill my bucket while I learn strategies to encourage people. Like, that was the goal. And then it drained all of my energy, all of it. And I just felt like as soon as I hit my 5th client, I felt in alignment with what I was called to do in life. And I had this impression 4 kids ago, 3 or 4 kids ago, where because when I learned how to love and value motherhood, coming from somebody who literally became a mom out of duty, this is like a traditional Christian thing. Like, we get married, you have kids, you do the noble thing, you check these boxes.
This is what you got to do. Yeah.
And then God accepts you, and then after like baby number 4 or 5, I was like, no, God accepts me however the heck I am. And I'm just like going to be me. All right. And that whole process is what essentially created my program. Like, get good with you. Okay.
Oh, I love it.
And then scaling that is going to be phenomenal. Like I have several clients that are so excited to see this grow, have been like my cheerleaders from the beginning. It's changed their lives, and having that kind of impact, it's what fills my bucket to be a better mom. Like this is the thing,
Yeah.
like the thing that's going to change the world. And to be able to do this in 10, 15 hours a week. I mean, the course material did take a little time to digest because it's a lot of getting good with yourself, right?
A lot of getting good with yourself and learning. Like you said, you got to learn the coaching and then you got to learn the business. So you got a little bit of learning to do. Yeah.
You got to talk. And the group calls were like literally what saved me. Being able to listen to everybody else go through their processes too was so validating. And then being able to have people reach out and they're like, how are you doing this? And I'm like, look, I'm just doing the work. I'm checking the boxes. Okay. I'm good at that.
It's funny because I always tell people, right? There's a lot of things that can help you get the result, but when you get all of the things, it guarantees you're going to get the result, right? Like if you get the frameworks, right? Well, it's like, okay, well, you need both the business framework and you need to get out of your own way. So you need some of the coaching framework to get out of your own shit and get out of your own way. Right. So you need to be able to lead generate and sell and communicate and put together a proper niche and program and deliver and all that stuff. But you also need to get over yourself and get into action and get all your limiting beliefs out of the way. But then, right, then you also, like, on top of that, you need the community because like you mentioned, you are gonna get punched in the mouth. You're going to get knocked down. Right. And you got to have the community around to lift you up and keep you going, and being on those calls and hearing what everybody else is going through and learning their lessons so that you can keep going as well is just so valuable, right?
Yeah. Well, and understanding the nature of the dry spells have more to do with mindset than they do the leads.
100%. 100%. I just had this conversation with one of our clients, Mike, who's on track to do $1 million a year this year. And like a few months ago, he had like a dry spell. And I was like, Mike, you didn't forget how to sell. You didn't like lose that skill. He's like, oh shit, you're right. Like this is 100% a mindset thing.
Oh, and I know, like you've coached me through this several times. Like when I got that 5th client, I was like, I got to get these people results. And I really felt like the builders and drivers module really helped me with that one. Just understanding, okay, there are going to be times where I do need to focus on building what I have. And then other times that I need to drive. And then I need to have some sort of maintenance drivers in place so that during the build phases, I've got drivers. So that was key for me. Like I see things very much engineering wise, like in my head. My husband's a software engineer. Like he talks to computers all day, and then I have to learn to interpret the way he talks to me.
Him and I would get along great. We'd get along perfectly.
It's hilarious. And so he and I have really had a lot of really deep conversations. I'm HI, like the launch program and all the life coaching and getting good with the person in the mirror is honestly what saved our marriage. Like,
wow.
And I think it's really empowered him to be to dive into his creativity as well. Because it's filled my bucket, right? So now I can present myself to him as the partner he needs. And
give him the space to start to go and explore as well.
And let him be comfortable in his masculinity, because that is hard in 2023. Unfortunately, bringing a little bit of politics into it, it is hard to be a white male in 2023 and feel good in your masculinity. You feel like society is threatened by that. And I'm like, no, what society are you talking about? Like the media lies about everything. Like quit listening and like just be you, like be good with the person you see in the mirror. And I think hearing me talk about how it's transforming me and how it's helping my clients is helping him like really dive into being comfortable in his own masculinity and that's enabling my femininity, right? That he was missing to come back through and really like heal our relationship. And so if I could say like that on the plug end, you know, if your marriage is struggling,
if your marriage is on the rocks, Xander will help you with your business and your marriage.
It was like a total, like, what do you call those? Like it's not something the program guarantees by any means, but that's the level of identity I regained.
I can't tell you how many people we've actually heard that from though. That it's either saved or completely changed or transformed their marriage. So
and
hashtag side goals.
It is, or you realize that there's no saving a toxic relationship, right?
Exactly.
Like in the HIC program where we kind of had that conversation, and they realized that they had been trying to hold on to something for years and years that was done. And either way, it really
it's a good thing.
Yes, like you go to the next level of who you're meant to be or called to be or
I love that.
whatever. And I was just chatting with some of the ladies. We have a little group where we talk to each other because that was the other thing. Like I just told them this morning, I was like, I'm so grateful that I have you guys that aren't
Mm.
like burnt out listening to my visions and goals and aspirations. And likewise, they
You have a community that is
really,
like you, that wants to talk about this stuff and can and lift each other up.
that the Q&A calls, I would say, were probably the biggest
Yeah.
the biggest thing for me, the biggest driver for me to get out of my own head.
Yeah.
And then we created little cohorts and even little 1 hour sessions to get GSD, right? Our GSD
Yeah.
sessions. They were like,
I
all
love
right.
it.
And that I wouldn't have found this. Like these, I'm so excited to meet these ladies, like
Yeah.
that get it, It's so fun. And
I
I don't
love it.
feel
Dude,
weird,
Ashley,
you
yeah,
know?
Ashley, I can talk to you about this stuff forever because I love it. I'm fascinated by it. But last thing that I want to ask you is, who do you think needs this? Who out there do you think needs HIC, and what we can give them?
Any coach or person that feels like they can add value to the world. Like you want to add value and you're in your own way, you need HIC over other coaches. There's a million coaches that are coaching coaches out there. And I feel like what sets HIC apart is that intimacy. Like you might have helped 1,000 coaches, but I feel like me like we're friends. Like,
Yeah.
and I have, there's so many coaches that are working for you that are helping us like deploy all the parts of the program, but I still feel like you're the person that I'm talking to. Does that make sense? And so it was like, because you do every single Wednesday, I know that if I have a question only Xander can answer, I need to bring it. And
Yeah.
that you don't get that with these they just teach you how to use bots and they teach you how to use others. So I feel like HIC, it's like if you want to maintain that intimate connection, not feel like you're running a business, but you obviously have to know those parts. You want to go change the world, HIC is going to help you change the world without burning out. That's it.
I
That's
love it.
right there without
I
burning
think that's perfect. And if you can do it with 8 kids, anybody can.
Yeah.
Ashley, I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything. I just want to say one more time, I'm so proud of everything that you're doing. I'm also so grateful that you're going to take all of this work to so many more people. So just want to thank you one more time. For everybody else out there watching this, give Ashley a huge thumbs up. Give Ashley one word in the comments to tell her what you thought about her as the inspiration that she is. Would love to make sure that she gets all of those. Ashley, thanks a ton. I appreciate it.
Xander.